It's 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, and you're lying in bed, scrolling through your banking app, not because something's wrong. Just checking. The balance sits there, $492. Payday was 6 days ago. And you remember that feeling when the deposit hit, that brief moment of relief. Like you could finally breathe, but now it's Tuesday, and the relief is gone. You make $65,000 a year. Where does it go? Not in an angry way, in a genuinely confused way, because you're not reckless. You work hard. You show up. You do everything you're supposed to do. And somehow, you're still here at 11:47 p.m., staring at $492, wondering why it never feels like enough. This is the part nobody talks about, the part where your income goes up and your stress doesn't go down. You got a raise 2 years ago, $52,000 to $65,000. That's $13,000 more a year, over $1,000 more every month. You remember the day it happened. You felt like you'd finally made it, like all the stress was about to end. And for exactly 4 weeks, it did. Your checking account looked different, healthier. You weren't checking your balance before buying coffee. You felt safe. But then something strange happened. That safety disappeared. Not because of an emergency. Not because you messed up. It just left. And now, 2 years later, you're back where you started. Checking your balance at midnight, feeling the same anxiety you felt when you made $52,000, except now you make more. And somehow that makes it worse. Here's what happened. When you got that raise, you made small decisions. You moved. Your old apartment was $850 a month, but now you could afford something better. Nicer building, better neighborhood, $1,300 a month. You told yourself, I've earned this. And you had. But that extra $450, that's $5,400 a year. Then the car. Your 2012 Civic was running fine, but it looked tired. So when the dealer said you could lease a new one for $340 a month, you did it. Then the smaller things. Better grocery store, better gym, better phone plan. Food delivery, because after a long day, cooking felt impossible. None of it felt irresponsible. It all felt like life, like you were finally living the way someone who makes $65,000 should live. But here's the thing nobody told you. Your income went up $13,000. Your lifestyle went up $16,000. You were making more money than ever, and you had less than before. There's a moment you probably remember. You were sitting in your car. You just picked up dinner. Chipotle, $15. And while you were waiting for it to cool down, you opened your banking app. Balance, $284. Payday wasn't for 3 more days. You sat there for a long time, staring at that number. How? You make $65,000 a year. That's over $5,000 a month. Where did it go? And then it hit you. You made it, and you're still broke. Here's what's really happening. You're not spending money because you need things. You're spending money to prove something, not to other people, to yourself. Every purchase is a vote, a small, quiet vote that says, I'm okay now. The nicer apartment? That's a vote. The lease car? That's a vote. The $95 a month gym membership? That's a vote. Every single one is a tiny decoration. I've arrived. But arrival is expensive, and expensive has become your baseline. You didn't mean for this to happen. You were just trying to feel secure. But security costs money. And the more you spend to feel secure, the less secure you actually are. Let me tell you about someone. Let's call her Sarah. Works at the same company. Makes $58,000. Drives an old Corolla. Brings lunch every day. Lives in a small apartment. One day, you were both talking about retirement accounts. Sarah pulled hers up for a 1K balance, $52,000. You almost choked. You went back to your desk. Open your own 401K app. Balance, $14,000. You've been working longer than her, made more money, and she had almost 4 times what you had. You felt something you didn't want to name. Shame, because Sarah looks like she's struggling, and you look like you're winning. But the numbers tell a different story. That night, you added up all your monthly payments. Everything automatic. Rent, $1,300 car lease, $340 insurance, $180 gym, $95 phone, $105 streaming, $58 internet, $80 student loan, $265, that's $2,423. Before groceries, before gas, before anything fun. You make $3,950 a month after taxes. $2,423 of it is already gone. That leaves $1,527 for everything else. And suddenly, that raise doesn't feel like freedom anymore. It feels like a tighter cage. You have a folder on your phone called Finance, tucked away on the third screen. Inside are apps you downloaded when you were younger and optimistic. Mint, your investment app, your 401k. You used to check them all the time. But somewhere along the way, you stopped. It started with Mint. The notifications kept coming. You're $180 over budget. Every alert felt like an accusation. So you deleted it. Out of sight, out of mind. Then the investment account. You put $3,000 in a few years ago. It went up, then down, then sideways. Every time you checked, you felt nothing, so you stopped checking. And here's what was happening. Every time you avoided looking, you were choosing comfort over clarity. And comfort was costing you thousands. Because when you don't look, you don't adjust. You just keep bleeding. Slowly, quietly. That $3,000 in your savings, it's been sitting there for 11 months, earning 0.4% interest. Basically nothing. You know you should invest it. You've read the articles. You get it, but you haven't done it. Because what if you need the money? What if your car breaks down? What if the market crashes? So you wait. And while you wait, inflation is eating 3% every year. Sarah started investing when she made $38,000. She didn't wait until she felt ready. She just started $200 a month into a target date fund. And now, 8 years later, she has $52,000. Not because she was smarter, because she started while you were waiting for certainty. Certainty that's never coming. Last Thursday, you spent 90 minutes researching blenders, found one on sale, saved $28. You felt responsible. That same day, you got an email from your 401k. You're leaving money on the table. Your company matches up to 6%. You're contributing 3%. That's $1,950 a year in free money. You close the email. I'll do it this weekend. You also haven't shopped for car insurance in 3 years. 40 minutes of comparison could save you $660 a year. But that's boring. So you kept researching blenders. Here's what you're doing. You're optimizing the small stuff. The $9 smoothie. The $28 discount. Because those feel controllable. But the big stuff? The 401k match. The insurance. The empty investment account. That feels overwhelming. So you avoid while the ship is sinking. Something happened 3 weeks ago. You were at Target after work, wandering. You ended up in the home section, threw things in your cart, candles, picture frames, a blanket, nothing you needed. At checkout, $127. You reached for your card, and then you stopped. You looked down at the cart and asked yourself, what am I actually buying? Not the items, the feeling that you'd made it, but you hadn't made it. You were $127 away from your credit card limit. You left the cart, walked out, sat in your car for 15 minutes, feeling something you'd been avoiding. The truth, that night, you opened every app in your finance folder. You looked at everything, not to fix it, just to see it. You'd earned $97,500 over 18 months. Your net worth had increased by $600. 99.4% of your income had disappeared. Into rent, into payments, into proving you were okay. And something shifted. Not motivation, just awareness. You weren't struggling because you didn't make enough. You were struggling because you weren't paying attention. You didn't quit your job or sell everything. You just started noticing. Canceled 4 subscriptions. $47 a month. Brought lunch twice a week. $80 a month. Switched insurance. $55 a month. Cooked 3 nights a week. $120 a month. Increase your 401k to 6%. Cost you $162 from your paycheck. Got you $162 in matching. You weren't perfect. You still got coffee sometimes. Still ordered takeout when exhausted. But you were awake now, and being awake changed everything. 7 months later, you checked your net worth. $23,400. Not because of a windfall, not because of a side hustle, just because you stopped drifting. You started paying attention. And attention is the only thing that actually changes anything. Your story is millions of stories. Millions of people lying awake at midnight, wondering where they went wrong. Here's the truth. You didn't go wrong. You just went unconscious. You made reasonable decisions. But together, they built a cage. A comfortable cage. But still a cage. You don't need to make more money. You need to keep more of what you make. And that doesn't require sacrifice. It requires attention. Open your banking app right now. Look at the last 30 days. Don't judge it. Just notice. Notice what you spent money on that you don't remember. Notice what you're still paying for that you don't use. Once you see it, really see it, you can't unsee it. That's the beginning, not a perfection, of change. You still check your balance. But now it's different. You're not checking because you're anxious. You're checking because you're awake. And being awake is the only thing that ever changed anything. You just have to look, really look, and decide what you want that number to say a year from now. It won't change on its own.